values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The President further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1(2) of the Code, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny, and under Section 1(3), he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence, we find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the President, if the President is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the President is unable to act on this matter, present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapa for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago, because the judicial service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters, and also well situated within the travel policy of the judicial service. We are brilliant young lawyers who is doing so well for us. Kwesi Otwi Esquire and all national officers present, I acknowledge your presence. Good morning to you all. Good morning. Before I start, let me also say that last week we invited all of you to cover the well-attended, the mammoth demonstration, Save the Judiciary demonstration. It was very, very successful, well-attended, well-organized. The message was loud, clear. We sent petitions to the judiciary, the legislature, which is parliament, and then to the presidency. You also have thousands, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians registered their displeasure against the political attack on our democracy and then the judiciary. So we thank you very much for coming. And then hopefully you'll be hearing from us. We'll be announcing a series of events to take place. Once again, good morning, members of the media. Greetings to you all, well-meaning Ghanaians across the length and breadth of our beloved country. We thank you for honoring our invitation at such short notice. The New Patriotic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in the widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patricia Ojo, aka Nana Agradaa. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently enacted Code of Conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outlawed by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our cedi. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the Code of Conduct for his appointees, and the President is reported to have said that the Code of Conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The President further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1.2 of the Code, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the Code, and the President must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the Code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. It's important. The President launched this Code. As I mentioned earlier, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars. That is serious. And we call on the president, if the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago because the judicial service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the judicial service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapaah. And he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you have been told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in the short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast.
Count dollars.
And afterwards, and if you saw where he even picked the money from, you could see that yes, you have a lot of it stuck in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madam Agradaa, and then Madam Agradaa also out of insufficient spirit grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stuck in there, so that is how come she could again grab all the dollars, and this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for, and which is this proportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as an acting Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapaah, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar, after what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. The same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madam Cecilia Dapaah saga, and I quote him: "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madam Cecilia Dapaah resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Afenyo-Markin, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. Per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must. He must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the city through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the Gold Board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the Gold Board was to centralize all business, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the city. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support to help and to prevent the depreciation of the cedi, to stabilize the cedi, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, again, then clearly he has no confidence in our city. And if you are superintendent of an institution which, as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the city, that is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution doling out dollars instead of the city, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city.
Very true.
And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he would rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in Parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Referencing the minority press conference yesterday, the state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review and upward adjustment of 15%. 1.5 billion a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 15% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on, travel with me, hold on. Provision of 2 security officers, or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener, or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. Exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if you decide to go to Bahamas, if you decide to go to wherever, if you decide to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to $10,000 upon proof of per diem. Per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day. For 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance to the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO-related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said, hey, let me read that. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but not only, and this is an important aspect, not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi giving out United States dollars without restraint, but Mr. Gyamfi also engaged in patent opulence on ostentation of just after 120 days in government. On the day in question, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 fully spec Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh, tear rubber, fully spec autobiography, Range Rover, 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sammy Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days is being in government, and if they are gift, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mahama's appointee. Following the indictment of Dr. Ayene, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities, Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person.